Hi there, welcome back to our channel. Are you ready to face your fears and conquer them with self-confidence so you can achieve your dreams? In this video, I'm going to share a real-life story about facing my fears, the challenges I encountered, and the lifelong lessons that continue to guide me today because of those experiences. Let's dive in. Despite my journey of conquering fears, I can't really say now I'm completely fearless. From time to time, I still find myself facing situations that stir that familiar anxiousness within me. But conquering fear isn't about never feeling afraid again. It's about developing the strength to push through despite the fear that overcomes you. Every time I feel fear and it makes its presence felt, I remind myself of my mission, not to let it ever defeat me. Of course, within safe reasons. I'm certainly no daredevil, and there are limits to what I will attempt. However, within proper safety boundaries, I engage fully if I believe there's a long-term benefit for me. In various areas of our lives, we tend to allow fear to paralyze us. Whether it's something in our business, making a video, speaking in front of a crowd, or even sharing a personal story on social media so others can get to know us a little better. These are little things that we cause to stop us. I've experienced many of those fears. Now, whenever I face these anxiety-inducing moments, I might squirm, show my nervousness, and even express it openly. Then I take a moment to sit with myself and I sort through my feelings. After that, I'm ready to go to take action. You might even be surprised to see how calm I appear when I'm executing those tasks I was visibly shaken by just a few moments ago. This transformation is thanks to some of the lessons I've learned, one of which I will share with you. I've made a vow not to let fear get the best of me anymore. How do you confront yours? Do share below. We would love to hear your story. It may just empower someone else. So how did my story all begin? It was 2013, a year of major transformation for me. I embarked on what I now consider a most important life-changing event. During that year, I attended an event that, from the sound of it, evoked immense fear when I envisioned myself participating in some of the activities that they hadn't even described. But something within me propelled me to go on, despite what I was feeling. And I had spent tens of thousands of dollars for this, yet I was still prepared to not participate if I couldn't handle the intensity of my fear. And as the time drew near, many episodes of anxiousness washed over me. But finally, the day arrived, January 3rd, 2013. I'll never forget, I showed up at Joshua Tree, California after a long flight and driving to the location. As we started the events, there were no details of what we were going to do particularly. Luckily, because I'm certain I would have sat out. My fears, at least from my personal perspective, were legit. Great heights of mountains and places to climb, and more. There were many terrifying moments, But the single one that taught me the most was the one in which I had to complete an obstacle course. There were many obstacle courses, suspended over 50 feet above the ground. The tethering around my waist did not make it any less terrifying. I had squeezed myself in the middle of that line, not wanting to be first or last. And my partner, the one that I was assigned, was a beautiful soul, but she was the very one I did not want to have. Why? She was clearly disabled and would not have been able to help me through my physical ordeal, which I was certain I was about to experience throughout this event. So now what do? It was simply another layer of fretting, compounding underneath my fears. And so I had gotten through the first obstacle course, which was almost as brutal. But while I was doing that one, I was looking across to the group that was doing the next one that I was headed to. And I was watching them. And I already made up my mind that that one would be real trouble, at least for me. There were multiple lessons, however, awaiting me. The moment of truth finally arrived. I started to climb the ladder with my heart beating like a drum. It was precarious as I landed on the wobbly rope suspended 50 feet off the ground. It consistently wobbled back and forth, forcing me to almost sit on the air, not to plunge below. The task was for me to reach for 3 vertical ropes that were suspended from above, one by one, to make it towards the center of the wobbly rope, then cross and exit on the other side with my partner. We crossed in the middle. Each rope was spaced farther apart than the one before. My partner was at the other end of the course. I briefly wondered how she was going to make this journey as I stood there. But that was not for me to worry about. I thought if I completed mine and I landed in the middle, my task was done. And so I started. But as I continued to reach, I realized how difficult it was to even grasp the first rope. It was then that it struck me that, hey, I may not even make it to the middle myself. Finally, I grasped that first rope, hanging on like my life depended on it, wobbling in the air. The group below me, saw me struggling and they started to cheer. I couldn't reach for rope 2, so I said, let me down. Enough of this swinging in the air, holding on to a rope that felt like it was burning, a tribal mark in the middle of my palms. It really hurt and it burned. But the cheering got louder. No, Gwen, you can do it. Keep going. I reached further, precariously, swinging from my crouched position. My fingertip touched that second rope, which gave me hope. And then I grabbed it. The third was impossible. So I started to inch my feet closer towards the center without losing control and falling. It touched my fingertips and started swinging. And I reached again, almost. Then I grasped it. Ooh. And now I had the courage to look to see where my partner was. She hadn't even started crossing the rope as yet. I gasped. I thought, well, my deal is done. I looked down in relief for them to let me down. Then I heard, Gwen, go get her. If I were a cussing woman at that time, I would have loaded them up. But I protested anyway. No, let me down. You can do it, Gwen. Go get her. Woo, what do they think I am? Some monkey that can swing on this rope across the stream? But then I finally finally agreed. I started the other half of her journey. If I get to her first rope, the others would be easier since they're more closely situated. I wobbled and braced myself, continuing to sit on air to keep my balance until I held that final third rope. Victoriously, now I made my way to her. She was still standing at the top of her ladder. Now I'm done, I thought. Then I heard, pull her up on the rope, Gwen. How far are these crazy people gonna go? I thought, are you mad? The woman can hardly walk. I am not strong, and I must pull her up on the rope? Nah. That was my final thought. But then it was intercepted by another thought. Why not? I had to grasp her arm since her hands weren't strong enough to grasp mine for the pull. I finally pulled her up with the strength that I am certain my spirits loaned me. The entire place broke out in applause. I was jubilant. I did it, and none of the things that I anticipated would happen happened. What an imposter fear is. In that moment, I had a real close examination of that phenomenon called fear, and I felt I understood it. That moment changed everything for me, and fear never quite had the same level of grasp and intensity on me ever again. Since that time, I've moved on to doing many things that I've been fearful of. But I want to share my most important lessons with you so you can hopefully get some nuggets too. Number one, fear is an imposter and a thief. What you fear will usually never happen, and if you let it, it will rob you with your eyes wide open and your consciousness fully engaged. And the irony is you live another day to do it again and again, voiding your dreams. Feel the fear and take the first step. Lesson one. Number two, when I confronted my fear by doing the thing that I was fearful of, its power got less and less, and during the process, the fear also disappeared completely because now I was focused on that moment. The minute I took my mind off and started to look ahead, the what ifs tried to cripple me. Stay present, focus on the current step, the now. The third thing, by looking at the entire obstacle, I was crippled. But by just taking that single first step, I did it bit by bit without feeling overwhelmed by it all. The lesson, chunk it up bit by bit. Avoid looking at the whole journey. It may overwhelm you and cripple you from starting. Number four, have a network around me. That network supported and encouraged me and caused me to build my self-confidence to do what I thought was totally impossible. It took my mind off of what ifs and refocused it again. Build a supportive network around you. Number five, the victory was sweeter after I helped my partner along the way. The lesson, bring someone along with you to make the journey sweeter for them and for you. Number six, you are stronger than you think. The lesson, own it. Where have I applied all of this? Since that moment, I've encountered many more fearful events, causing me to look back and knowing that I will survive this too because I did then. My shamanic journey had many such moments that I encountered fear. And the second one, my ability to approach the pitch black darkness. Those are two major accomplishments among many others that I feel I've encountered. Face your fears and know that on the other side, you will feel so much more confident to take on what's next. Go ahead. Feel the fear. Do it. Chunk by chunk. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel and share it. In our next video, we're going to look at some of the feelings fear evokes so you can recognize it and take charge before you allow it to cripple you. Bye for now.